SG Reads.
Hello fellow travelers, my name is SG, welcome to the channel. Today, I'm going to go over one of the most forgotten Halloween specials that Rankin-Bass have done, that being Mad Monster Party. It's definitely a classic and definitely does deserve to be looked at, and can be constantly seen throughout our modern culture as being some of the most significant tropes in horror comedies. Well, I guess in this one would just be comedy, since there really isn't any horror, but you can definitely see where inspiration from other materials has come from this. So, without further ado, let's get into it. But before that, please leave a like, comment, subscribe down below. I would really appreciate it if you did. That way I know you like more content like this, and if you have a suggestion for what Halloween movies or other kinds of projects you want me to look at, please let me know down in the comment section. I'd really like to know. Anyway, let's get started. Mad Monster Party is a 1967 stop-motion animated musical comedy film produced by Rankin-Bass Productions for Embassy Pictures. Now, Rankin-Bass is the same company that brought you Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Santa Claus Coming to Town, Frosty the Snowman, and various other projects such as The Grinch. So, when we talk about this is definitely one of their more lesser-known projects, but at the same time you can definitely feel the inspiration from the other ones along the way. This also stars the voices of Boris Karloff. You may know him from How the Grinch Stole Christmas as being the main narrator, Alan Swift, Gal Gadot, and Phyllis Diller, with many different impressions and kind of rehashed jokes from classic horror movies, introducing a variety of different creatures, such as the Frankenstein's monster, his bride, Dracula, the Invisible Man, the Mummy, Quasimodo, Werewolf, the Invisible Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the creature from the Black Lagoon, and, of course, the man himself, Dr. Frankenstein. Also introducing new characters such as his nephew Felix and Francesca, his assistant. The story goes, Baron Boris von Frankenstein achieves his ultimate ambition, the secret to total destruction, and has finally tested and perfected the formula himself. Now, with that in mind, he's decided to finally retire not only from science, but the worldwide organization of monsters as the main head, deciding to leave it to his nephew, Felix Flanken, a drugstore pharmacist somewhere in the United States. He decided to call upon all the monsters in his organization, ranking from that of the Frankenstein's monster all the way to the creature of the Black Lagoon, and of course the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and several other creatures along the way. With assistant Francesca not really being happy with this decision, or the chance to not be able to receive that information and being able to sell it, she decides to team up with Dracula to get rid of his nephew and take over the mantle of the main head of the worldwide organization of monsters for Dracula, and getting all the secrets that Frankenstein himself has gathered for Francesca, only to realize that she has grown feelings for Felix along the way, and there are several other creatures along that also want to be head of the worldwide organization of monsters. For the most part, that would have to be the main story, this gathering of monsters coming together under suspicious circumstances, and not only that, a different kind of feel for the most part. Now, that's just a brief rundown of the main story overall, but please do go check it out. I know you can buy it on Amazon.com or Amazon the Prime. You can rent it there for $5 as of right now because of the Halloween season. And yeah, check it out if you can. It's a real fun watch, and let's continue. Felix Flanken, one of our main protagonists in this series, as the nephew of Dr. Frankenstein, is a drugstore pharmacist somewhere in the United States, as said before, but he is incompetent, asthmatic, but good-natured overall. He is seen as much more of a burden to anyone else around him, including his greedy store owner and those around him. He is friends, or at least meets, Dr. Jekyll, the Wolfman among others, unaware of his uncle's true nature, until the very end where he learns that they're all creatures, or monsters, if you will. Francesca is pretty much his opposite, strong-willed and willing to get what she wants, unsure of why exactly she wants the information for Frankenstein's weapons of destruction along with the guide to build the Frankenstein monster. It has always been said that she probably wants to sell it or wants to become a scientist of her own. Like I said before, she grows emotions for Felix along the way, and we do know that there is something happening between them at the very end. We do have several other creatures that act as more antagonists, such as the Dracula, acting more of the side villain of the story, trying best to get things done off screen, if you will, or even on screen, here and there and there. The other monsters do make appearances, but more as sight gags along the way. But for now, these are the three main characters of the series, besides Baron Boris von Frankenstein himself, who mainly keeps himself locked away in the lab until he wants to make that announcement fully at the end. The animation is very well done, what you can expect from a Rankin-Bass film, considering that this was mainly directed by Julius Bass and produced by Arthur Rankin. The two are the main heads of the Rankin-Bass productions and have been the heads of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Santa Claus Coming to Town, and other projects like that. You could really tell that they knew what they were doing. This was a later project along the way, and that there was no scenes wasted or there was no space wasted. It's very well done, the animation is very fun, the monsters are creative and at the same time recognizable, leaving you to understand where they're coming from and what's happening to the story overall. So for the most part, the animation itself is very fun, very vibrant, and leaves more to the imagination, along with characters that are very humorous, not just to look at, but to hear from as well. The film itself was designed to be a parody of the horror movies of the time, such as we see Frankenstein constantly, Dracula of course, we see Quasimodo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and we do see various other characters, like we do get the Mummy, we get the Invisible Man, we get, of course, Boris Karloff, who was one of the original Frankenstein monsters, being represented slightly as Boris von Frankenstein, of course. But we also get the Francesca being kind of the femme fatale kind of character, at the same time being that common character that's in the movies. Felix Flanken is obviously meant to be the bumbling character, but ends up being the main hero of the horror movie. We also get the Wolf Man, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, the creature from the Black Lagoon, and even surprise characters as the creature It, turning out to be the creature from the King Kong movies, the giant gorilla, but never admittedly said King Kong. Now, these are all meant to be plays and meant to be funny to the main storyline overall, to just be quick parodies and to jab fun at the movies of the time. But what I really wanted to make note of is that you can definitely see how they did kind of influence a lot of future movies. One of the most common ones being Hotel Transylvania. You can definitely see this funnier take on classic movie monsters along the way, allowing them some wiggle room to make their own storylines and make their own kind of vibe. And we can see some of these things like in Abbott and Costello Meet the Wolf Man and Frankenstein, and several other kinds of styles that are similar to this kind of comedy that allow itself to be goofy, but at the same time allowing it to be in this world of monsters, allowing it to have this sense of humor but have the sense of bite as well, because this is not meant to be a horror in any sense. It's meant to be more of a comedy, just using horror icons. So that's really what I would like to say, that this entire movie just is a big reference to the older style movies along the way. I'm more surprised we didn't get like Phantom of the Opera or creatures like that at the very end. But for right now, that's pretty much all the references I have. If I've missed some and you know the movie, please leave it down in the comment section. I really like to know. And let's move on. Overall, this is a very fun movie. I know for a fact that if you look at IMDb or other kinds of sources, it gives it a 70. I think that's a bit unfair. I'd give it an 85. This does have a lot of movies, while at the same time it is very dated and of its time, I would have to say. But nevertheless, it's very fun, very entertaining, and allows some wiggle room to have its own kind of style and world that makes it grow. It grew on me as it went on. I enjoyed it, and I do think that if you check it out, you would enjoy it as well. It's definitely one of those movies that, like I said, is of its time, but at the same time, is timeless in itself. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe down below. I'd really appreciate it. If you like this content, please let me know what other videos, other movies, or other projects you'd like me to check out down in the comment section. I'd really appreciate it. And see you guys next time, and have a great day. See ya.